Okay, thank you so much, everyone. And we're going to have our normal daily Corona briefing. We're a little bit late today. I'm going to get into as to why, but I want to just appreciate everyone's flexibility, whether it's online, tuning in, and so forth, and also our partners who are here. And so we do actually have some very meaningful stuff to go into today with respect to economic development and so forth. So that's what we're going to be featuring today, is a new program for us with respect to economic development relief for micro businesses. Now, let me begin with a couple of things. First off, those folks who are anywhere near downtown might have noticed that City Hall had a fire drill just about 30 minutes ago, just to explain what happened. There was actually a pipe that broke on the 11th floor, and it then triggered electrical wiring and whatnot. So there was actually, to our knowledge, no fire, but there was a broken pipe and a lot of damaged wiring. There was a lot of water that came down, so that's going to take us many days to actually fix and repair. Now, there was hardly anyone at City Hall anyway, so it didn't really matter except for the fact that we were trying to put on this notification for everyone. So we're over here in our convention center and continuing business, and much to go over this morning. So some updates from our Joint Information Center. First, the New Mexico Department of Health on Saturday did announce that they're launching 2 online tools with respect to the public interaction for COVID-19 testing. These are portals to receive COVID-19 testing results and a self-screening tool to aid in determining if you're someone who needs to get tested. You can find the test results portal at these sites. We'll post these online, and they're also on DOH website as well, but it's basically cvresults.nmhealth.org. And then for self-screening, go to cvnmhealth.org/should-I-get-tested. Now, also want to remind folks, of course, we noticed our president yesterday announcing that the guidelines are going to stay in place for social distancing now till April 30th. So I think that's very important for everyone's expectations. We're expecting, in general, another month of everything that we've been going through so far. Now, also at this time, we want to give a city update in terms of where city services are at, any changes. This is actually the first time where we have no city service changes. The last changes we announced went in place on Saturday. We've also updated all of our employee instructions for everything from sick leave to various work from home policies to the art route and everything else, transit. Everything is no change as of Saturday, so no changes today in any city service. Okay, now, what we are going to work on today is economic development, and so I'm going to touch on a few things. First, we are issuing a second declaration with respect to public health emergency. Now, this declaration actually only does 2 small things, but legally, this is an important thing that we have to do. So the first thing, this declaration, and I'm just going to hold it up, this declaration, this is the second one, this is going to allow digital signatures at the city. So there's some nuances behind this legally, but the point is we're all working from home to keep government running. We have to be able to have a digital signature process. Lawyers, et cetera, will know this is not a new thing. People have been doing this for a long time. We all know this even from our tax reforms and so forth. City was not quite up to speed. So now we're able to conduct, whether it's contracts and so forth, business using digital signatures. And so that's what this order is going to do. The second thing this order does is we had a program with respect to small business support, and it was scheduled to roll out in February, and it began. It was our Job Training Albuquerque program, and we had an appropriation of $500,000 to get that off the ground. And what we are now going to do is shift that program to where it's needed most, which is actually supporting micro businesses during the time of Corona. So this emergency action will also allow us to make that change with respect to that appropriation. We've been in touch with our partners at C&M. They're very supportive of this, and it's the right thing at the right time. And our Director of Economic Development, Cynthia Armillo, is going to go into that. Now, what I am going to do, because in order for her to go into it, I need to sign this second declaration, so I'm going to do that right now. And so with the signature, we're going to be able to roll out this economic development plan and also continue operating government through digital signatures. Okay, so now that that's done, this is now our second declaration that's in place. And so we're going to touch on what this means for small businesses. Now, first, this is going to allow $500,000 into a new micro business relief program that's going to provide economic support to all small businesses needing assistance in overcoming the temporary loss of revenue for COVID-19. This is something that people have been asking us for. We know there are lots of loan programs out there, and that's excellent, and we're going to talk about how to be in touch with those, but we know the gap really exists for our smallest local businesses with respect to revenue loss, something that can be very difficult to deal with through debt financing. So this is very much a grant to support for revenue loss. Now, the City of Albuquerque is going to be providing these grants to qualified small businesses impacted by COVID-19. And again, this is meant to fill in the gaps left by federal and state financial institutions that are already in place. The details are all available on our website, cabq.gov, and you can also call 768-3730 to get more details. A couple of other items I'm going to touch on before I hand it over to our Director of Economic Development. We are going to be hosting a small business webinar to help small businesses navigate all the assistance programs. And we also have online our small business organization resource guide, which is updated daily to help folks navigate where they can get help during this time. We also have a new small business manager who's starting through social distancing today, so we do want to welcome David Sayers. He's going to be in charge of this for the City of Albuquerque, and he used to work at Deep Dream Spring, which of course is formerly Oxyone. So David, welcome to the team. You're here just in time. We're very much excited to have you on board. Lastly, we're also going to feature Director Brennan Williams from our planning department. So for folks in the construction industry, he's going to talk about how we are trying to continue to be open with respect to permitting and inspections. So let's start off with our Director of Economic Development, Cynthia Armillo. Cynthia.
Thank you, Mayor. Hello, everyone. As Mayor Tim Keller mentioned, my name is Cynthia Jaramillo, and I am the Director of Economic Development. My team and I are very pleased to announce this micro business relief program that Mayor just mentioned. I'm sure you all will have questions about the program, and we are happy to take those in just a bit. But I want to first outline the program and then talk about a few other efforts to support Albuquerque small businesses my department has been working on the past 3 weeks. First, micro business relief program. Our primary goal with this program is to help the businesses most directly impacted by the disruptions caused by COVID-19. We know that many of our smallest businesses don't have enough cash flow to withstand a prolonged temporary economic disruption. And therefore, the City of Albuquerque is stepping up to complement, as Mayor mentioned, the gaps left by federal and state programs already in place. Here are the details. The Micro Business Relief Program is a $500,000 grant program that will be administered by my department, the Department of Economic Development. Up to 5,000 capital grants will be available for qualifying individual Albuquerque micro businesses impacted by COVID-19. We will begin accepting applications immediately after this press conference. Now I'll touch on some of the requirements. Businesses must have 5 or fewer employees, including the owner. The business must be registered and physically located within the Albuquerque city limits. The business must have experienced financial hardship due to COVID-19. The business must have been in business for at least 6 months. Grant funds must be deposited into a business bank account and only be used for business expenses. The City of Albuquerque will make electronic deposits. Business owners must agree to provide a report about the use and results of the grant funds 6 months after receipt. Businesses that are franchises or restricted to patrons above the age of 18 or older will not be eligible for award. For example, bars and smoke shops. I want to note that there are other requirements both before and after an application is approved, and interested business owners should apply and find the full details after this press conference at cabq.gov/economic development. Or they can call 505-768-3730. Applications will be available in both English and Spanish and in other languages upon request. The Economic Development Department's Small Business Office has the staff available to assist business owners complete the application, including Spanish-speaking assistance. Applications will be reviewed as they are received. Now more than ever, we must rally behind and support our entrepreneurs and small businesses to provide them the flexibility and resources they need to minimize the economic impacts of coronavirus. We have heard from many in the community who want to donate about small businesses. So those of you who are interested should donate to the One Albuquerque Fund and earmark the donation for small business. We want to especially thank our sister department, the Department of Finance and Administrative Services, who will help us distribute the funding. I'd also like to thank Chris Muirhead at the Module Law Firm and Tara Gore at the Grant Plant, who helped us to shape this program. Also would like to thank the Albuquerque Community Foundation and especially the Central New Mexico Community College, who were willing to partner with us to administer this program. Now I'd like to talk about our guide. In addition to the Micro Business Relief Program, the City of Albuquerque Economic Development Department has put together a resource guide for businesses who are navigating COVID-19. The resource guide includes information, resources to COVID-19 financial assistance relief programs. The resource guide includes information and resources to other COVID-19 financial assistance relief programs, best practices for businesses, organizations, and workers, and other resources. cabq.gov/coronavirus-information. The resource guide is updated as more information and resources are made available. I'd like to announce that on Wednesday, April 1st at 10 a.m., my department will host a webinar to provide current information about federal, state, and city financial assistance, and we'll talk about other lending programs. Those interested can participate in the webinar via Zoom. A link can be found on the City of Albuquerque Economic Development's website. Again, we want to continue to encourage folks to support local. We continue to urge residents to, one thing we like to call them Burqueños, I just call them residents, is to tell your community about the small businesses you are supporting. The request is simple. It's fun and a great way to be connected with friends, coworkers, and loved ones. Residents can post their pictures of delivery and takeout and challenge others on social media. Use #SupportLocalABQ and please tag @CABQEconDEB. We're also asking small businesses to tag us in posts, and we'll be sure to help spread the word about businesses. Again, please stand 6 feet apart and maintain the distance from others. Don't gather at local businesses. Remember to keep groups no more than 5. And you should also remember to wash your hands again for 20 seconds. Finally, as Mayor mentioned earlier, I would like to announce that we have hired a new small business office manager who will oversee this program. David Sayers. David has been in New Mexico in the small business ecosystem for the past 6 years. David understands the challenges that our small business owners and entrepreneurs are facing today. David has lived and worked in the state of New Mexico for over 15 years and has experience as being an entrepreneur himself. He's a graduate of UNM's Anderson School of Management. David is a Navajo descent and grew up in the Four Corners in a small town of Bluff in the great state of Utah. Has lived in Gallup and now lives in the city we all love, Albuquerque. David has a passion for helping small businesses. in both metro and rural communities and is experienced in providing technical assistance and access to resources. Like Mayor mentioned, David couldn't have joined the team at a better time, and we are happy to have him aboard to lead the Small Business Office, not only during this critical time, but also as we continue to boost our support for the small business community. As I mentioned, the Small Business Office was established in September of 2019. It is meant to serve as the central point of contact for Albuquerque entrepreneurs and small businesses. The Small Business Office was established to connect individuals to the right people and appropriate city agencies. Now, thank you, and I'll be available for questions following the press conference. I'd like to turn it back over to Mayor Tim Keller.
Thanks. Okay, and now with a brief update on our city's planning efforts, which of course is very tightly tied to our construction industry, Director of Planning, Brennan Williams.
Good afternoon, Mayor, thank you. As the Mayor mentioned, my name is Brennan Williams, currently serve as the Planning Director for the City of Albuquerque. I'm here to thankfully and gladly announce that the Planning Department continues to provide essential services during this difficult time. Firstly, we have limited and restricted access to the building, but our efforts continue. We are still processing all types of permit requests. Part of the ability for us to be able to do this is recently we converted from the old way of submitting permits and plans, the paper submission route, to an electronic or an online system. We found that roughly 90% of the incoming permit requests are accomplished this way, and during this time, those numbers are consistent with what we've seen in the past. We're also providing, based on the elimination of face-to-face interactions with customers, we are providing drop boxes so that members of the public that are seeking to submit paper plans or a paper permit are still able to do so. These are large metal file cabinets that we have outside the building. They're placed out first thing in the morning and they're collected in the evening, but they are available Monday through Friday from 8 to 5. Customers use one drawer to submit their application or their plans, and then staff comes out and retrieves those at various times during the day. And then if it's necessary to provide something back to the customer, another drawer is used for that. Payment for permits continues to be accepted. Most of those are done online. If you are interested in that or need assistance with submitting your permits or submitting payment, we do have staff members available, but you can go to the city website, cabq.gov, and if you'll query permits, you'll hit our landing page for our building safety division. It's very self-explanatory, very friendly, user-friendly, and so that can help you if you have questions with permit submissions. Going hand in hand with permits, of course, are inspections, and inspections also continue. Our inspectors for about 2 weeks now have been working exclusively from the field. Thanks to technology, they are able to not only plan their day based on the inspections that are requested, but they are able to update our permitting system remotely. If the inspection results are not real-time inspection results, they do happen quite frequently. So again, that's a service thanks to technology that we continue to provide. I'm also happy to announce that despite the interruption of our standard permitting procedures and our inspection procedures, current data shows that our applications remain consistent with submissions not only from a month ago, but submissions and permit submissions that were taken in a year ago this time. The only noticeable change, excuse me, the only noticeable change is that our review cycles have been reduced, which is always nice. We're able to more quickly, more expeditiously review those permit requests and get answers back to individuals that are attempting to pull permits. We still have other permit counter services in the building and online that remain operational. Our business registration application numbers are consistent with what we've seen historically. Online applications are the meat of what our group reviews, and that's the submission methods that that's most often used. Those numbers remain consistent. As I mentioned earlier, face-to-face interactions with customers has been reduced, but we have seen an uptick in our telephone calls and our email inquiries, and we do have staff members that are available to answer those, so that service continues. Finally, related to permits and applications in construction and community development, applications for our various boards and commissions continue to be accepted. Those are accomplished both online as well as in person using the Dropbox. Ultimately, the result of those applications to our boards and commissions results in a public hearing. Utilizing technology, we continue to conduct business thanks to some guidance from the Attorney General and from our city legal department, as well as the use of remote conferencing services. We are on the cusp of restarting or beginning those public hearing processes again. In closing, obviously, I can't tell you that it's business as usual, but the adjustments that we have made and the numbers that we are seeing, the activity levels that we are seeing, I am pleased that the planning department is assisting in this difficult time. Thank you. Mayor?
Good job. Thanks. Okay, thank you so much. And we'll wrap things up, I think, with really just mentioning, want to talk about our myth of the day that we want to debunk. This one is about the IRS calling for information. The IRS will not call you for your bank account info or social security number. So if anyone is getting these calls, people claiming to do that, asking for that information, be aware that it is definitely a scam. So, okay, Tim's Takeout yesterday, we had Thai cuisine too. So with that, let's take your questions. Any questions in person? All right, Jesse, any coming through online?
We have one from Zoom, from Kiwi. What is the status of the requested field hospital that the governor requested? Has a site been selected, or when will things start being set up?
The question is about the status for the field hospital and so forth. There's no change in that status at this point. Our city, again, we mentioned the old Loveless Hospital, and also it's possible we could use the Balloon Fiesta if they want everything to be like a temporary tent structure. And so those are the two ideas that we put forth, and at least as of today, there's no change or update on that matter.
And then one from the Journal for Economic Development. How many businesses in Albuquerque have 5 or fewer employees?
That's a good question. Several. Several.
I think what we can do, we'll follow up with you on that one.
That's it for, or 1 second.
All right, we'll just stand by for a minute. We got some online questions coming in.
Follow-up question from Kiwi. Any idea of when you expect more information on the field hospital?
I would suggest, so the question is, any idea when we expect more information on the field hospital? I know that was the item that we were working on was a request. So I would check in with the governor's office on that, as the request is coming from their office.
Another one from the Journal. Does this work with the anti-donation clause?
Good question from the Journal. Does this economic development program work with the anti-donation clause?
I'm happy to answer that.
Sure. And a clue is that's why we had to use
Yes.
this.
And so I can, just to make very clear, the city will not be providing benefits to small businesses as a donation or benefit without receiving comparable value in return. This is an action that is necessary at this time, as Mayor mentioned, as we look to stabilize the city's economic and tax revenue base. The proposed program is a tangible benefit to the city of Albuquerque.
Any in-person questions? No?
Okay, and I'll just add too, that's when we had our lawyers look at this, the LIDA channel would have been one avenue for this, but to get the money out as soon as possible, that's why we included that language in the declaration. And so there's no concerns now about the anti-donation clause.
There's one more from Kiwi.
Okay, and another question coming in online. Go ahead.
Have you heard any information from the private hospitals or UNM about their status of PPE or personal protective gear?
So the question is, have we heard any information from the hospitals about the status of their PPEs and protective gear? We are in daily communication with our hospitals, and the last call too, even I personally had with them, is that, I mean, they always need more. And our Emergency Operations Management Center is releasing as much as the federal government will allow them. And I know our governor is also working on getting more. So I have no new information that's different than last week. However, it is Monday morning, and I would expect tomorrow we might have some more information for you on that, as I know they're going through the hospital and Emergency Operations Center calls. That's what we were all on this morning.
Question.
Okay, looks like we do have one more.
Hi, so I know you guys are going to be accepting applications immediately for the micro businesses, right? So
Yes,
the
ma'am.
process is going to take a while because I know everything's kind of hectic, or when can maybe see those checks?
We're gonna,
Hold
they,
on.
yes.
So
go ahead.
come up and repeat the question.
Got it.
Go ahead.
The question is, how fast will the city's economic development turn around those applications to small businesses? They will be notified within 5 business days. Yes, we have people taking phone calls immediately after this press conference, and applications will be reviewed as they're received.
Okay, any others? All right, we will see you again tomorrow. Thanks so much.